All right, everyone, what's up? Jammer here from Jammer's Wrestling Magazine Collection to do part 2 of Sting. Man called Sting, the icon, the franchise, whatever you want to call him. It's now time for part 2. And of course, we left off with the last video, 1992. It's now time to hit 1993. And we're starting off with January 93 of The Wrestler. And we got Sting turned sadistic, hurting Jake makes me happy. Sting, of course, in a feud with Jake the Snake Roberts in WCW here because Jake debuted, DDT'd Sting, costing him his chance at Vader, and Ron Simmons got that chance, won the title. So now Sting and Jake the Snake Roberts had this crazy feud going on. They had the big Halloween Havoc 92 match, and then that was the end of Jake the Snake. He left WCW and he took some time away and until, years later when he went back to the WWF. Now, this next one here, let's see, Sting wins an award. So Sting is on the cover of March 92, PWI Year in Awards. And again, most popular wrestler of the year goes to Sting, Ultimate Warrior, The Undertaker, and Ron Simmons there as the runners-up. So Sting winning awards every year, it seems, in the PWI. For the WCW magazine here, we have a Collector Series Special number 4. Sting, of course, on the cover. And it's power picks. It's like just, various action shots of the wrestlers, as you can see. But Sting, of course, making the cover for that one. Inside Wrestling, June 1993. The 100-match war. Vader and Sting's secret blood pact has gone too far. That, of course, is taken from Super Brawl 3 with their White Castle of Fear strap match. If you haven't seen that match, go back and watch it on the network. It's an incredible match. And actually, if you go back and watch it at the beginning of Super Brawl 3, like when they're panning the front row crowd, a young Matt Hardy is in the front row. And it's definitely Matt Hardy. You can tell by looking at his face. And I believe they were down in the Carolina, maybe the Carolinas for that one, because I remember Jesse asked Tony where the Smoky Mountains are because they were near Tennessee, and the Smoky Mountain Wrestling was on the show too. Jim Cornette's Heavenly Bodies were on that show, but definitely check out Sting and Vader from that pay-per-view. WCW Magazine, July 1993. Sting's Championship Journal, a daily diary of glory and anguish. This was probably from when he went to the UK, where Sting defeated Big Van Vader for the world title right off the bat when they got there, held it for like 5 days, I think, then lost it back to Vader before heading back to the USA. Wrestle America, August 93. From ow to ow. Have Big Van Vader's beatings taken their toll on Sting? And yeah, Sting, besides the Super Brawl 3 match, Starrcade 92, a great match between Sting and Vader, a hell of a match. I remember not Jim Ross, but Jesse Ventura had a line in that match where he said, it's got to be plain depressing as hell when you do the move and your opponent gets up before you do. Because Sting gave Big Van Vader a belly-to-back suplex, and Vader got up first. So, yeah, it was a pretty good match, though. WCW Magazine, August 93. We get Davey Boy Smith and Sting. Can Big Van Vader and Sid Vicious overcome WCW superpowers? So this was the time frame when the Bulldog was in WCW and him and Sting were tagging up. And Bulldog was gunning for Vader and Sting had his back. And, Sting and Bulldog, I thought they could have been an awesome tag team champions in WCW. And never happened. Davey Boy Smith just did not do well in World Championship Wrestling in 1993 or 98. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, September 93. Sting and Hogan said it. PWI reveals it. The Superstar Summit. There they are, Sting and Hogan for the first time together. And Sting with no sunglasses there, and no face paint, showing off his true face. February 94 for PWI. We get WWF versus WCW again. We got Sting going off against Yokozuna this time. Of course, Big Van Vader and Razor Ramon and Dustin Rhodes and The Undertaker. Interesting matchups they chose for that. I thought Vader and Yoko would have matched off there, but they went a different route. Sports Review Wrestling, May 94. Sting reveals my 10 greatest fears. So the Sports Review Wrestling by this time was just a shell of its former self, too, because Sports Review Wrestling actually became Wrestle America. And then for some reason, they brought Sports Review Wrestling back in 1994 after, shutting it down in 92. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, June 94. Sting versus Hogan. Yes, and we have the photos. Yes, that would be from Thunder in Paradise, I believe, is where that all took place. Wrestle America, Fall 94. Is wrestling becoming too hardcore for Sting? That's an interesting topic there. Sting, of course, would have been in the middle of feuding with Rick Rude for the WCW International title. He ended up wrestling Big Van Vader at Slamboree for that vacant title. And it was a pretty brutal match. So interesting they went with that one. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, October 1994. Wrestling's All-Stars Challenge the World. Look at that group. We got Razor Ramon, Flying Brian Pillman, Bret Hitman Hart, and of course Sting right there as the centerpiece of those gentlemen. October 94 for Inside Wrestling. We get the WCW mid-year report, and there we see Sting shines, holding up the WCW International World title, which ended up being changed the name again to just the Big Gold Belt. And it was so stupid, but I guess they didn't know what to do with that title until they unified it with the WCW title that Ric Flair had at the Clash of the Champions. May 95 for the Wrestler, Sting versus Savage. Why they'll soon be at each other's throats. No, that didn't happen until many years later when Savage joined the NWO. So Sting and Mach were right beside Hogan the entire time, pretty much. I mean, Sting and Hogan had that match on Nitro back in 95 where Hogan wore all black, but for a little while, but still stayed true to each other did Sting and Macho Man. WCW Magazine, June 95. This is the new style because they changed it. This is the new style now. So we got Sting demands Hogan give me a title shot. So I guess they were trying to hype Sting and Hogan there, even in the WCW Magazine. January 96 for PWI. It's a full-scale war. WWF versus WCW. We got Sting going off against Shawn Michaels there. And we see Bret and Randy and Hulkster and Diesel as well going off from each other. So Sting versus Shawn would have been an interesting match, to say the least. Inside Wrestling, February 96. Wrestling's top stars, what 1996 has in store for him, and it says Sting continued frustration. So they're trying to play up, I guess, as Sting is frustrated with WCW not getting a title shot with Hogan, I'm guessing, or, maybe his frustrations with Lex Luger. I don't know. The Wrestler, April 96. Can't we all just get along? Lex Luger, I come first. Hulk Hogan, how can I trust anyone? Randy Savage, they're all jealous. And Sting, Luger's my friend, deal with it. So there they are. They're setting up for that big situation. Of course, Lex Luger ended up going heel there for a brief moment, but remained faithful to Sting and ended up winning the tag titles with Sting, actually, in January 96, while still being a heel. It was a really weird time in WCW. The before NWO era of Nitro, which was actually really entertaining if you go back and watch. This is Inside Wrestling, June 96. Luger or Hogan, if Sting makes the wrong choice, he's through. Sting chose Lex Luger, and it was probably the right choice because, as we'd find out a few months later, the Hulkster would be the one doing the turning. Inside Wrestling, August 96. The greening of wrestling, how Shawn and Sting will become $50 million men. So I don't really know how they would. Interesting topic there, I suppose. This is The Wrestler from February 97. We have wrestling's top stars, what 1997 has in store for them. We got Hulk with NWO Chaos, Sonny checking out Austin, Shawn being bad again, and Sting back where he belongs. Not too sure what that means, if that means he's in the title picture, going for the world title, or what. I don't really know what they mean by that. or maybe just Sting wrestling again. Maybe that could have been the time when he just started going up and doing the whole crow thing in the rafters. So I don't really know. April 97 for The Wrestler. We get Who Screwed Up This Man's Mind? The Shocking Truth About Sting on page 34. So there's Sting now doing the whole look of the crow. What a weird time that was for Sting and the fans. I was a Sting fan. Now, I accepted Sting losing the blonde hair and having his dark hair. And I accepted him growing it out because it looked cool. But when he did this look, it was completely different. The Wrestler, August 97, dream match. Sting's bat in the side of Hogan's head. Already trying to set up the eventual Sting versus Hollywood Hogan world title match that would be happening at Starrcade 97. And that ended up being a real shit show for anyone who remembers watching that. The Wrestler, January 1998. Lex Luger's plea to Sting. Read this story. Your career depends on it. So I don't know what they're talking about with that. Maybe Lex was trying to give Sting some pointers. Lex Luger, of course, already defeated Hollywood Hogan in the summer of 97 for the world title, held it for 6 days. But I think that kind of killed Sting's momentum and the excitement for him defeating Hogan at Starrcade, because Lex Luger had already done it in August of 97. Luger was the first. Even though Luger held it for 6 days, it was still Lex Luger who was the first to dethrone the Hulkster. So I think that hurts the Sting win too when he finally beat Hogan. PWI, February 1998, Sting versus Hogan, the match of the century. So there it is, hyping it up. I believe the poster in here is on the match too, yeah. So that's pretty sweet for Starrcade. This is here. We got stats for Sting. Well, let's take a look. His birth date, March 20th, 1959, from Venice Beach, California. He's still in Venice Beach, California during this time. He weighed 255 pounds, stood 6'2", and his reach was 77.5 inches. His chest normal was 45, and his chest expanded was 47. His waist is 33 inches, thigh 25 inches, calf 16 inch, neck 19.5 inch, wrist 10 inches, fist 12.5 inches, and ankle 11 inches. So what an interesting stat there. Kind of, I get why they did it. I mean, I remember Hogan and Andre did it for WrestleMania 3, the Tale of the Tape or whatever it's called, but it seems like a little weird for Sting and Hogan to be doing it, but whatever. The Wrestler, February 98th, Sting fever strikes and the NWO can't find the cure. So Sting now really hitting the magazine covers, which is always good to see. 1997 for the year in wrestling for March of 98, PWI. Again, Sting makes the cover and Sting wins most popular wrestler of the year. And let's see who he beat out for that. Sting beat out Steve Austin, Ric Flair, and Diamond Dallas Page. So Stinger with another PWI award, another popular wrestler of the year. It makes Sting won that a lot. I think he might be tied with Cena for that, for most wins for that. PWI, May 1998, the Starrcade scandal. We hate to say it, but give the belt back to Hogan. Of course, if you watched Starrcade, you know what went down there. Nick Patrick counting 3. It was supposed to be a fast 3 count, but it was a normal 3 count, so there was no reason to restart the match. Just what a horrible match that was. And I guess you can blame that all on the Hulkster, but it's just shit like that is the reason why at times WCW was failing, unfortunately, back then. And it went on to hurt them in the long run. PWI, July 98. We get another WWF versus WCW battle here. We see Shawn Michaels against Hollywood Hogan, Ken Shamrock against Diamond Dallas Page, and we get Stone Cold Steve Austin against Sting. So, of course, Austin and Sting wrestled many times in WCW back in the early 90s, but this was a different kind of Austin and Sting, so it would have been interesting to have seen what would have happened. August 98 for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, we get Supercards 98. We got Sting and Hogan on the cover there. Sting putting Hollywood in the Scorpion Deathlock, while Mike Tyson KOs Shawn Michaels and Bam Bam Bigelow pulls Taz out of a ring. So, but Sting and Hogan get the main shot there. Very cool looking photo for sure. The Wrestler, November 1998. Demons be damned. Sting makes the Giant see red. So the Stinger now got the red face paint on. He's now NWO Wolfpack, which seemed really ridiculous. I mean, okay, I get that they split up the NWO. They had a good guy version and a bad guy version, right? So Hollywood Hogan is the heel version, and then Kevin Nash is the babyface version. And they didn't need to add Sting to it, though. I mean, Nash had Conan and Randy Savage, and I forget if did Sting join it? I think Lex Luger joined it before Sting did. So, I mean, even Lex joining it made no sense. I mean, these guys just spent a year and a half trying to beat off. That didn't come out right. Beat off the NWO. Let me rephrase that. Tried to, I would say, I'll beat up the NWO, get rid of the NWO. And now they're joining them? That just made no sense to me. Inside Wrestling, February 99, Wrestling's top stars, what's ahead for them? It says Sting back to the past, and there's Sting with the Wolfpack hand signal. There's the red face paint so you can see it. It was a cool look for Sting at the time, though. I mean, it was something new, it was something different to see the red and black face paint. But that would end, and he'd go back to his original white and black look. And Inside Wrestling, Holiday 99, we get Sting, my 10 toughest opponents, and there's the face paint back to black and white. Let's see who the 10 toughest opponents are. I'm curious. I don't even know where it's at in here. Oh, here we go. All right, Sting, my 10 toughest opponents. In no particular order, I guess. We have Nature Boy Ric Flair. We got Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And we have the total package Lex Luger. So that makes sense. Those are 3 top stars he's wrestled. We have Ravishing Rick Rude, Bill Goldberg, The Great Muta, Nikita Koloff, Big Van Vader, Barry Windham, and here's a surprise, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert from back in the UWF days and then going into the NWA. So there's the 10 wrestlers that Sting had the toughest time with while wrestling. Well, there it is, folks. That's it. That's the Sting magazine covers I have. You know, what can you say about Sting, right? He's had one hell of a career. I actually was in, and I have it right here. I was at this event, Bound for Glory 2006. It was in Detroit, Michigan. I was in the 5th row with some friends, and I remember when Sting wrestling Jeff Jarrett for the title, the NWA World title, and Jeff Jarrett hit Sting in the head with the guitar, and Sting no-sold it and did his Sting flex and yell and scream, and I went nuts. A buddy of mine named Jay, we high-fived, we were excited. And Sting Scorpion, or gave him the Stinger Splash, Scorpion Death Drop, and Scorpion Deathlock, and all that stuff. And Jeff Jarrett lost, and Sting became NWA World Champion for the 2nd time in his career at that time. The belt, that was the first time he ever held the original style title, though, right? The one that, you remember Harley Race held, and Jack Briscoe held, and Terry Funk held. So this is the first time Sting held that title. The other time was the big gold belt for the NWA World title. But yeah, I got to say I saw Sting wrestle live, and he won the world title. So that's freaking cool. But yeah, it was a cool experience. And Sting's done so much. When WCW died in 2001, I think Sting thought that was it. And then TNA called him in 2003 for a show. It was Sting and Jeff Jarrett versus AJ Styles and Sean Waltman. in a tag match for like the 1 year anniversary of NWA TNA. And then Sting came back again, like I think 6 months later or something, and tagged with AJ Styles to wrestle Jeff Jarrett and Lex Luger on an NWA TNA pay-per-view that aired every Wednesday. And then Sting kind of disappeared again for a while. Then they brought him back in in 2006, and he came in, and then he had that run there, going after Jeff Jarrett and Abyss and Christian Cage, and I mean he was there from 2006 to like 2013 or maybe early 2014 is when he left. He had a good run in TNA and held the world title there a lot of times and world tag title. So he definitely had a good career there. His WWE career, on the other hand, not the greatest, as we all know, but we can say he was at least there. He got to wrestle at WrestleMania, even though he lost to Triple H. He was still, he still got to compete at WrestleMania. That's something he can check off the list. And he got to headline the Hall of Fame. He got a WWE title match with Seth Rollins. So they probably could have used Sting a little better, though. And I don't know why they didn't. Sometimes I feel like Vince McMahon honestly didn't really know what to do with a lot of the stars he had. I feel like he got lucky a lot of times with his ideas, because how do you mess up someone like Sting in your company? But even then, I know Sting was older, but man, he's still wrestling now. So, and that was 10 years ago. So I don't get it. But anyway, Sting ended up going to AEW for the last few years and was with Darby Allin and had a lot of cool moments, a lot of cool matches. And it's going to be sad when Sting does hang up the boots for good next year. I am a Sting fan. I like him, always have, always will. And it was actually something that kind of ticked me off about what Sting said a few weeks ago on AEW. He said that Darby Allin was his greatest partner he ever had. And like, what a slap to the face to Lex Luger. And then Tony Khan's gift to Sting is Ric Flair. Like, you need to babysit Ric Flair for the last 6 months of your career. Like, thanks. So yeah, anyways, this is Sting on the magazine cover. So let me know in the comments, what was your favorite Sting moment, your favorite Sting match, your favorite Sting feud? Did you like him as California surfer blonde-haired Sting, or did you like him as the Crow Sting? Did you like him as Wolfpack Sting, or the Joker Sting from TNA, or AEW Winter is Coming Sting? Do you like that one? There's various Stings, but for me, my personal favorite was the California blonde-haired Sting. That was who I first saw, who I was most familiar with, and who I kind of associate Sting matches. It's like when I think of Sting matches, I don't think of the Monday Night War era. I don't think of the NWO. I don't think of TNA. I think of his matches with Big Van Vader and with Ric Flair and with Lex Luger and and Rick Rude. I think of that Sting. So anything from 87 to like 95, that to me was Sting. And Crow Sting was cool, but I'm just saying my favorite was the California blonde-haired surfer Sting. All right, so thank you everyone for watching this. Again, please let me know in the comments what Sting you preferred and what matches you preferred of his, and even if what promotion you liked him in best. Did you like him in WCW or TNA or AEW? Right? I doubt many liked him in the WWE, but maybe you do. So okay, anyways, thanks for watching, and until I do my next one, I'll talk to you guys later.